Our featured ISD has implemented several innovative projects that provide interdisciplinary and STEM-related learning opportunities. Following are some that were of particular note.
With what we're doing with these collaborative projects is, it's a big school. A lot of times the classes are totally different sizes. They're meeting at different times. They're meeting in different parts of the building. It's very difficult to connect people in the same room at the same time. So in most of these things, there's a handoff. In fact, I think in every project you're seeing, we do this thing, we hand it off to some of the other group, and sometimes it gets handed back. But it's more of that than people sitting in the same room doing the same thing. There's collaboration going on in the classrooms, but not so much between the two different classrooms.
In our dance program, Ballet and English 1 created a PBL in the fall based on their study of Romeo and Juliet. Karen Searles is our Academy dance teacher, and she actually went into some English 1 courses. I believe she even worked with the ELL students to try and give them a visual example of Romeo and Juliet performed as a ballet, so it wasn't just something in a textbook. They actually brought it to life for the students, and she went in and kind of talked them through the ballet, and it was really, she said it was really rewarding to see students identifying what was going on in the story through movement, even though they hadn't taken ballet and that wasn't maybe something that they were passionate about, but that they could still watch and learn from the process. Our musical theater program combined with the entire Visual and Performing Arts Academy and presented the 2014 musical production Ragtime at the PAC this past January. And this was a wonderful experience for our students to study the early 20th century and the evolving times from the evolving times of just the different social classes, the social economics that we were faced with, people moving to America from all over the world and trying to find a way to assimilate and coexist in this world full of opportunity. Go show them some of the pictures. The Teaks taught in musical theater, which musical theater alone to me is one of the most collaborative forms of art, because you have the technical theater side and scenic painting and makeup design, costume design, and then you also have the music element and the dance element and the theater element and the storytelling from English and building a set. If you'll see in the picture, building that set took so many mathematical problems and problem solving, and that set was completely built by our students. 100% by our students and our technical director. So it's really like theater just in general is a collaboration of all of those skills that the students learn in their core classes in addition to what they learn in their performing arts classes. I've asked Marielle to come. She played Evelyn Nesbit in the musical and is a senior this year, and I wanted her to share a little bit about the experience of playing a historical character.
Evelyn Nesbit lived from 1884 until 1967, so she was 82 when she died, and being able to play her was just phenomenal. Just the historical factor of it. She lived through the ragtime era and long enough to see the civil rights movement. So it was so amazing. This is to keep me on track. Evelyn was so educational historically, and I learned so much. As a performer, of course, you're always interested in your character, hopefully. And so it was all on Google for me. She was a real person. So I got to go and I looked her up and I read 2 books about her. And every morning I would come in with a new fact for Miss Copeland. Like, Evelyn never knew just how old she was because of her early vaudeville career. Her mother lied about her age so often to avoid child labor laws. So even then, she lived from approximately 1884 to 1967. And I'm no history geek in any way. So the fact that a musical like Ragtime, so beautiful and so amazing, could get me immersed in the history of a time and an era was really impactful for me as a student.
We're going to look at a project that's going on within the graphic design and illustration program of study. This is one, we're calling it Animating Atomic Theory. So the main goal of the project is for students to create an animation that will sort of teach people how we came to our current understanding of the atom. So it is a joint project between the AP Chemistry students and the Advanced Graphic Design students, which is an interesting mix. It's been a lot of fun. The AP Chemistry students started off, they found out about the project, they some of them are visually savvy and like to draw, some of them aren't. But what we asked them to do is basically do a bunch of research on different phases of atomic theory, of history of atomic theory, come up with storyboards, come up with ideas to describe to the advanced graphic design students that would go on to do the illustrations and make the animations. So a lot of the research and basic information came from the AP chemistry students, and then there was a handoff to the graphic design students. So first thing we did was, the chemistry students were, AP chemistry students were doing the research, and they were trying to give us as much as possible. What we're looking for is as many images as possible of the different periods of atomic theory history. And these were some of the storyboards that a student created, and you'll meet her in just a second. And then it got handed off to the advanced graphic design class, students that are really facile in images and maybe not so much in the science. So they're trying to kind of communicate with each other and connect that way. So this is an early illustration that a graphic design student did. So I'm going to have an AP chemistry student, this is Kalia, come up, and we're going to talk about this. And this is Ryan Hicks, who's been involved in the animation. He was just working on this, I think, 30 minutes ago. Come on, stand up here. So let's start with, Kalia, what did you think when your teacher first described this project to you?
I honestly had no idea what to do, because I do like to draw, but the fact that we actually had to draw storyboards, I had no previous experience with that. So I was a little concerned.
Did that get any better over the course of the day?
It did. We actually got to go and speak with Mr. Foster before working on the project, and he explained exactly how he wanted the project to be done.
Great. And so Ryan, when you got the information from the AP chemistry students, what was your first thought about it?
Well, when you first presented the project to us, I think it was really confusing and overwhelming, but the information that all the AP chemistry students provided us with made it a lot easier. We got a lot of ideas about how to format it and a lot of the information and pictures that we could use, and they provided resources, which was really nice, so it made it easier.
Great.
Another aspect that I think is a strength for the Round Rock ISD Career and Technical Education Program is our 3-day professional development conference that we host in August before the teachers return full-time. In this, we bring in not only people from content areas, but we also bring in people from our special education department or people from our ESL department so that they can provide training that's specific to CTE teachers, how they can best work with those special population students in their classrooms. Because our classrooms can function a little bit differently than a regular core classroom sometimes. So that way these teachers get the training and the knowledge to support those kids in a way that will work in their classroom, but also in a way that will help those students be successful.
In conjunction with the 3-day professional development conference, we also do 2 days of curriculum writing at the end of the year. We bring in all of our teachers to be able to collaborate horizontally across all of the high schools, make sure that their curriculum is aligned. When you've got 15 teachers that might be teaching the same subject, it's important to make sure that everybody's on the same page so that all of the students are served in the same ways, but also they can share ideas, how they've supported students with special needs, maybe done word walls in a way that worked really well for them, or different items to support students, making sure that they're given all of the tools that they need. So we do that curriculum writing with all of our teachers for 2 days, but we also can bring in content experts. We have courses that count for math and science credit, fine arts credit, and so bringing in those folks from those curriculum areas to be able to support our teachers in lesson planning, putting all of our lessons up on our ARC, the Aligned Round Rock Curriculum, is something that's important for us, so getting as much updated there as possible, and then also doing any project-based learning that they can do to start to plan for the next year. The end of the school year, folks are tired, but that's also a time to get re-energized and be recuperated over the summer, but having that goal in mind of what you want to implement for the next year.